Oh, bonjour. Bonjour, bonjour. Bonjour Boners. Yes, I'm all bundled I'm in my cozy wear tonight. Hi, it's Jess Wood. Welcome to Get Wood. Get Wood, your favorite storytelling silliness for your week. And so who knows how long I'll be able to keep this bear hat on my head. I think it's a bear, right? It's got little ears on it. I remember I had this type of hat back in the 1900s, and I was offered $50, which was a lot in the 1900s. I was offered $50 for my hat. I said, nay, sir, because I hadn't seen any. Now they're a dime a dozen, for Christ's sakes. Hey, like I said, welcome to Get Wood. I'm Jess Wood. I'll be your host for about 30 minutes for about 30 some odd stories. I don't think I do 30 stories. But welcome to Get Wood, sponsored by Love, Anti-Fascism, Real People, No AI, Authenticity, uh, Generation X references, and undiagnosed ADHD. Welcome. And we have a little theme song that we like to sing, or at least I like to sing, and hopefully some of you at home are singing along, or maybe in the car, wherever you listen, in the tub. I hope you're taking a bath right now. Love you. Big Bud, Sesame, Big Minge Energy, Rat-ta-ta-ta-ta. That's a 9 mil melody. Bam, and you say goddamn. This is a dope jam. I'm broad. I'm broad. I'm broader than Broadway. Jess, I'm abroad, and I'm abroad, and I'm a broader than Broadway, and I'm a diddlin, 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 diddlin. Oh, I diddle it so much myself. And it feels so good. Your sauce will mix with ours, and we'll make a good goulash, baby. Oh, yeah, what time is it? She said it 17 times, but she'll say it again. It's time for Get Wood with your pal, Jess Wood. How are ya? Hi, and I hope you're drinking your gin and tonica and smoking your marijuana and wearing your yarmulke because it's time for Hanukkah. Also, I have a tree. And also, I have a tree. We celebrate everything. I don't have a Kwanzaa situation. I know I'm lacking on a few of the situations, but I give them my love. I send them my love to everybody. Fila, t-shirt. I don't know if you're watching, if you're not watching and you're only on audio, let me tell you about the cool outfit I have on besides the hat with the bear ears. I'm wearing a fila. Mm-hmm. Fucking A la di da. I'm wearing a Fila shirt and it's yellow because I dyed it that way. I dyed it that way and I did some bleachoramas and some batiking. I don't know what it was. I did some dyeing and I used rubber bands and maybe it's a tie dye. Anyways, bro, I hope you're having a great trip right now. Hey, brother. Hey, sister bear. Like Iko all night. So this week, I'm going to talk about some things that I watched on TV, some things that I was yelled at in the streets, and some things that I've been thinking about since last I saw you. First off, you know how I love to thank you all so much for all of your kind words, your feedback, your sharing of the show. You know how I love it when you share my show. I just want everyone to hear this. I would like everyone, if everyone could please hear this and be quite cheerful. That's my mission. Hello, lovers. Speaking of, I realized that this week, and I realized it a little late after I had already had some major emotional stuff come up. Yes, Get Wood. We talk about some crazy, ratchet ass, sexy ass, some crazy ass, but we also talk about some heartfelt, how you're feeling, psychological. Oh God, what do we go through to get through this life? So I realized the date a little later than usual that last week was Case's death anniversary. And if you know me and if you've been listening for a while to the show, you know that Case was my old boyfriend who died when we were supposed to be reunited and it was going to feel so good, reunited, but it was misunderstood and he relapsed and he died in December. And it was December. We're coming up on 10 years now. I believe that's how long it might have been, 9 years maybe. But grief is weird like that. Grief is strange because some years you feel like, oh, I miss them, but it's not like tearing my heart apart. And this year, it got me, I was kind of, um, I was feeling annoyed by everything, and I was feeling like everything was making me claustrophobic, and I was feeling like everything was just closing in on me like Star Wars in the garbage chute, just the walls were closing in. And so I had to make a few adjustments. Thank the goddesses that I have people in my life that listen and adjust to the needs that I need. So shout out to those folks. You know who you are. And so it was Case's death anniversary. Now, he was someone who I dated when I was a kid. When we were teenagers, we met at the Renaissance Fair. He worked at the Dunk booth. I know, the Dunk booth at the Renaissance Fair. Hilarious. Because you know how at the Dunk booth you have to do insults. You yell insults to the crowd and then they throw stuff to try to get the target to dunk you in the water. Well, Case had to do it, but he had to do it in Old English. So he's like, his insults were some things like, "You sleep with your goats in the night, sire." Shit like that. People got mad. People threw things. He was dunked a couple of times, but it's set up for you not to win, for you to just keep buying the sacks of beads. I think it was a little sack of seeds or sack of beans. Olden days, they had to make it check out. All the things in the Renaissance Fair, they were very strict about how you looked and what your hair color was and not showing any tattoos or anything like that. But then in the nighttime when it closed, oh, it didn't matter what happened back there in all the tent city. It was a complete tent city, not homeless encampment, but a tent city of all the people who worked at the Renaissance Fair. Because it went for so long of weekends, people would just go up there on a Friday and just camp through the weekend in order to stay close to the site because you had to be up really early and in your fucking corset. My 14-year-old titties hitting me in the chin. Appropriate? I don't think so. But what was the Renaissance period but inappropriate, if nothing else? So Case and I met there and we started dating and we realized we both had a lot in common in terms of like being left alone and being on our own at such young ages. And we lived nearby one another. So we ended up dating and he broke it off a while after we were dating because he said I lived in a fantasy world. And I reminded him that we had met at the Renaissance Fair. So really, you do the math. So years later, cut to years later, we reconnected like a lot of people did on Facebook, where people were kind of reconnecting with old, not kind of, but people were reconnecting with old high school sweethearts. It happened to a lot of people. People were going and getting divorces to go back with their high school sweethearts. So he and I were not much different than that, although he was in Hawaii and I was in Brooklyn. So there was a huge time difference. There was a huge bunch of waters between us. And yet we had this really beautiful analog writing each other's snail mail and really having a very kind of innocent that we didn't really get when we were kids. We kind of had to grow up so quickly that I felt like this romance that we were able to have was very childlike and very innocent. And we were able to kind of um, honor the children inside of us that needed to be loved the way that we were needed. Not that we could give each other the love that our parents had not given us. That's a tricky one. And I think that one stays with us for a really long time. The mother wound, the father wound. When we grow up, how do we have an intimate relationship without putting so much pressure on the other person to find those wounds and make them okay? We can't. And it's hard. It's hard to find the boundary. It's hard to find the line where love and intimacy ends and codependency and fawning uh, s- pick up the slack, which is, it's never a great thing. So anyway, 10 days before I was supposed to get to Hawaii, because I had gotten myself a ticket to fly out to see him and be with him, 10 days before that, he relapsed and he died. And so it was a really heavy time. Now, I will say, and I've said this before, and I know I've told this story before because this is the time of year that it happened. But I'll say it again. I was reading Joseph Campbell at the time, and I have to say, if you're struggling with anything, or if you're looking for a little bit of a guide or some guidance in order to keep you present, I really recommend Joseph Campbell. So this time of year, starting in Thanksgiving time, because my mama L died the day after Thanksgiving, and then coming into case, and I have my friend Tibby and Boogie and Foo, and I could name a whole shit ton of people, and I just don't have the time. These are the people who died. These are the people who died. Do you know that song? It's Jim Carroll, who wrote the Basketball Diaries. Did you ever see that movie or read that book? I really highly recommend. Anyway, speaking of movies and books, I know everyone has really talked a lot about Rob Reiner and his wife, but I must put in a couple of cents here in my talk to you. Uh, he raised us. He raised us with being on All in the Family, being the voice of reason, really, on All in the Family, and um, being the director of so many movies that really shaped our lives and who we are. And for me, most importantly, the movie quoting that comes from his movies, the lines that come, and I know that Nora Ephron wrote most of Harry Met Sally, and I know he had different writers, but Princess Bride, oh my God, y'all, The Princess Bride, I quote at least once a week, at least. And it's not what you would think would be. What are your quotes from movies? I want to know. Please leave them in the comments. Write to me and tell me what you quote, what movie you quote, because I'm telling you, I am so crazy for The Princess Bride. I say, have fun storming the castle at least once a week. I say, hello, lady, at least once a month. I say, no more rhyming, and I mean it. Anybody want a peanut? At least once a month. It's like Seinfeld. I mean, seriously, seriously. And speaking of Seinfeld, oh, the sirens are here to get me because I get riled. Speaking of Seinfeld, Rob Reiner was a huge component of keeping Seinfeld up and on the air and in production. He was a giant voice behind that, and we wouldn't even know. We wouldn't know a lot of the things that he did. But for me, what really touches my heart, as you wish. I mean, of course, you can't handle the truth. Of course, I'll have what she's having. Those are, and of course, this one goes to 11, you know? But the everyone having herpes in Spinal Tap, um, just there were details that stick with me, him using actors that people didn't want to take a chance with, that he knew would be right for the parts. Like he was just a really, really fantastic man. And I was talking to some women on the subway platform today. I've done a lot of running around the last week. I've been on the trains. I've been to all the neighborhoods in New York. I just baked cookies to go take to a party later. So I'm very busy, and I'm very happy to be busy because I really love my life, and I really love how much I have going on. And even days that I feel like I don't have anything going on, I know that it's important to rest. Do you have a hard time resting, my loves? I feel like it's a challenge for a lot of us, and I encourage it. I encourage you to rest. Um, okay. So I was talking to some women on the subway platform earlier today or yesterday. I can't remember. It was so many subway platforms. So a couple of older Jamaican ladies, and I don't know how come we started talking. I think it was just because we were all waiting for these trains that were just nowhere to be found. And I often will just say to strangers, and can you believe they want to raise the fares? Because they want to fucking raise the fares to $3. And it's insane. All right. So these women are like, oh no, it's such a shame, such a shame. And I said, I know. I said, oh God, I said, hopefully Zoran will get us, some free transit or something, just something for the people, for the people. I said, I miss Obama so much. And they were like, oh yes, girl, yes. And did you know he and his wife were gonna go see, oh, the tragedy of it. They were going to visit Rob Reiner and his wife. They were on their way to go visit him. And I was like, oh my God, I didn't even know this. And they were like, you didn't know, girl? It's been all over the news. And I didn't want to tell them, I didn't want to break their beautiful hearts, that I don't really keep my head too far into the news. Like, I'll dip in once in a while, like somebody explained it the other night on stage, like a cold plunge. Just real quick. And then you're like, ow. And then you get out. Yeah. Because nothing much changes, unfortunately. So they were so sweet, and we were talking about it and talking about it. And I told them I was very highly influenced by Rob Reiner and his comedy, because I do comedy now. And they said, oh, you do comedy? Where are you going to do comedy? And I said, I'm actually going tonight to do comedy. I'm going right now to Queens. And they said, oh, wow. Well, who do you like? Who do you like? Who's your biggest influence? And I said, Richard Pryor, without missing a beat. Of course, I said Richard Pryor. And they're like, oh, yes, Richard Pryor. He changed people's minds. And I said, I know. I wish to be like Richard Pryor in that exact way. I wish to tell stories and tell jokes and get people's minds to change about shit, because this is the only way. I mean, I don't think we're prophets, comics, but I feel like we can talk about things and lighten the load a bit for people so it's not so fucking heavy. Oh, so heavy. So speaking to strangers, which I love, and let me tell you, if you love to talk to strangers, you should move to New York City. New York City is a town filled with a bunch of people who would like to talk to you back. I mean, it's not as much anymore because, as my Aunt Vicky says, it's not a blue collar city anymore. The blue collar people talk to each other. The blue collar people share information. They share their kvetching. But these, they're very uptight, white, rich people. I said, I know. Anyway, I'm still getting some yells and some speakings too. And you know how I love that. I love to hear what the fuck people are yelling about in the streets. And the last couple of days, you've just been hearing a lot of like, yo, yo, and I don't know. I hope I'm not disturbing all my neighbors. There's not usually a lot of yelling from the apartments. Anyway, this guy, I was walking down the street, and I guess I was alone. I had to look around after he yelled out what he yelled out, because I thought there must be other women in the street with me here. So I'm walking down the street, and it's daylight. It's the middle of the day, and it's freezing. And we're all bundled up. And he catches eyes with me. It's a young, like, I want to say 20-something-year-old black dude. And he catches eyes with me. And then he just rolls his eyes and like throws up his hands like he's just had it. And he says real loud, he yells out, oh, you fucking bitches. Can't you just go and get married already? This is what he and so I look around like, is he yelling at a group of us? Are there a group of women walking down the street just like, I'm single and I'm fucking ready to mango? What? Get out of the way, young man. I'm going to. Or was he just looking at me like, I need you to get away from here because I'm getting very tempted to marry you, miss? I was quite confused. Maybe you can help me with that. Maybe you'll write me a little note and let me know what the fuck that was. Can't you just get married already? I don't know. I was dumbstruck, which usually I was dumbstruck, you know. Hello, young man. Did you want to talk about engagement? Like, what the fuck was he saying? Anyway, then I found myself over on St. Mark's, which used to be really funky, all like punk rockers and artists and little small boutiques of independent business people and independent artists doing their thing. And now it's not. And now it's kind of wealthy and just like the rest of the city, but it's still, you can find some funk. We want the funk. Ow. What the funk? So give up the funk. Where is the funk? Hello, funk. Are you here anymore? I don't think you are. So I'm on St. Mark's, and let me tell you something. I found the funk. I know. Sometimes I just come up on the funk and I can't even help it. And there it is, just right on a stairwell outside with a big flowery dress on and holding a balloon filled with nitrous. That's right. There's this white chick and she's on the steps and she's in this giant flowery gown and she's got a big bag between her legs that's got a nitrous canister sticking out of it. And if you don't know the nitrous canister, it's one of those big whipped cream gas holders where you can put in a bunch of nitrous into this canister, and then you can click the handle, and all the nitrous comes out. And when I was a kid, we used it just for ourselves. I know. Can you believe I am alive right now? That's the thing. It's very exciting that I'm still living from all the drugs and all the insanity that I've been through. So this girl is sitting on these stairs. Has the nitrous, she's got the nitrous canister. She's just filled up a balloon and she's just taking a hit off the balloon. And then this dude's walking by, this white dude, and she goes, "Hey." And he goes, "Hey, what are you doing?" And she goes, "Oh, you don't know nitrous." And you know how your voice, if you've done it, you know, your voice is kind of like, "No, no, no, nitrous." And to yourself, it sounds like, "Wah, wah, 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 wah." So he stops and he goes, "No, I don't know nitrous." And she goes, "Like at the dentist office." And he goes, "Oh, like the gas, the laughing gas?" And she said, "Exactly." And then she said, "Do you want a balloon?" And I stopped. And I said, "Are you offering him a balloon? That is so nice." And, I just want to be in this conversation because who's doing nitrous in the middle of the day on St. Mark's? It's like a Tuesday. I just was fascinated by this woman. And she goes, "Yeah, I offered him a balloon." She goes, "Do you know nitrous?" And I go, "I do know nitrous very well. Like we've hung out, we've done it like a lot of times. I've seen my friends flop on the floor like a fish, just frightening, taking people's lives, getting people cut in the face because you just face plant after you take too big of a hit." I am familiar with the monster they call nitrous. Mommy. Blue Velvet, anyone? Even Little Shop of Horrors, Steve Martin, anybody? You picking up what I'm putting down here? I knew you were. That's why I love you so much. So she offers me a fucking balloon. All of a sudden she goes, "Well, if you know nitrous, then maybe you want a balloon. You want me to buy you a balloon? I'll go buy you a balloon. You can put it right here. I got plenty of nitrous left." I said, "No, no, no, I'm okay." She goes, "No, really? Like I could buy you a balloon like right now. And we could just sit here and we could do balloons all day." And I was like, as tempting as that sounds, my love, I'm going to take off. I got some shit I got to do, like live through life without wah, 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 going on all day long, 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 long. I got shit I got to do. I know. I know. And yet there she was. And goddess bless her, because I'm sure she had the best day ever. I mean, look at how it started. How could you go wrong? Nitrous. Anyway, did you see the Diddy Doc? Now, I know a lot of people have already commented, like the Rob Reiner thing, a lot of people have commented on the Diddy Doc. Now, I don't know if many people have commented about how their friends reacted to said doc whilst watching it with said friend. Listen, I know you're listening, but oh God, do you ever feel responsible for people's like emotional I know we're not responsible for other people's emotional well-being. I mean, we do the best we can. We're as clear as possible, and we try to be as loving and as kind and compassionate and all that. I hope we do. But my friend said that we could watch this documentary at her place because she's got the Netflix subscription and I don't. And so I was like, "Oh, I really want to see this Diddy documentary." Now I knew something would have been amiss or I knew something was amiss because we tried to watch the first two and didn't even get through the whole second episode. And there are only 4 episodes, but she couldn't. She was so emotionally affected. And I find that a delight. What a nice person to actually feel like, "Oh, this makes me feel terrible. This makes me feel dirty and awful and anxious. And I don't want to watch him anymore. He's doing horrible things." And so I was like, "Okay, I'm sorry. You're right. We shouldn't, watch this anymore." And so we turned it off. But then, oh my, I went and stayed over her house the other night. And I didn't even mention it because I was like, I don't want to traumatize my poor friend again. And she said, while we were cooking dinner, really nice vegetables and really good for you food, well, let's have some good food and some toxic television. And so that's what we did. You ever do that? You ever do a little juxtaposition? That's what I'm doing. I got pearls, but I'm wearing a Fila t-shirt. What's going on? I'm an older person, but I've got a hat with ears on it. There's a lot of things that are just silly and on top of each other, but I don't care. So we fucking finished the documentary, and my poor friend, I had to give her a little hug. I had to give her a little hug. We had to watch some comedy stuff after this. I had to give her I had to do some little jokey jokes in real life, like, hey now, say now. I had to do a little chugga chugga, hey, whoa, whoa, I felt bad for my friend. It's like I'm a bad influence. It's like when I have cigarettes and my friends don't have cigarettes, and I'm like, I'm gonna go smoke a cigarette. You want a cigarette? And they're like, yeah, I want a cigarette. And then I'm like, oh, we're out there having cigarettes. And I'm like, man, I'm bad influence on you, right? Because you're having the cigarettes. They're like, no, I would have had a cigarette anyway. Yeah, where? How? When? You didn't have somebody next to you going, come on, let's go smoke a cigarette. So I'll take responsibility. I take responsibility for being a bad influence. Listen, that was why a lot of my friends' parents didn't want me to hang around with them when we were little. And you know what? I don't blame them now, because this little kid was huffing paint, smoking PCP, doing as much acid she could get her hands on. Who wants to have their child next to this child? I mean, some people really enjoyed my childhood. I probably the adults that were taking advantage. Darkness, but real. Message. How do you do? Oh my gosh, there's only a few more minutes left. What shall I get into next? Oh, so I'm so lucky because I get to volunteer with seniors, and I must tell you, and I've told you before, but the seniors are like they're a lifeline. They're a godsend. They're amazing. And if you have any seniors in your life, go and talk to them. As hard as it might be to look at be faced with your own mortality. I mean, I know that's why a lot of people can't do it, because when you see old people or sick people or disabled, like you're faced with, some sort of reality of aging and death and all that stuff. But get into it, man. They're fucking the shit. They are a pisser. I'm gonna tell they're a real pisser. I tell you, my Boston friends. So I got to hang out with them yesterday. My volunteer group was yesterday, and what a blast, man. And talking about, what they talk, it just becomes a natural theme. Like we start off with a story, and sometimes it just becomes a natural theme throughout the room. And yesterday, what was the natural theme was Christmas and the holidays and Hanukkah. And what became the real theme for them was Christmas cards, and who gets how many, who doesn't, how many they send out, how many they don't want to send out, how many stamps they need. This one woman, Franny, forget it. She's like, I'm running low on stamps. I need stamps. I don't know. I can't go out today. It's too much weather. The wind is too hard, but I need stamps in a bad way. And we said, oh my goodness, Franny, how many stamps do you need? What are you down to? Are you down to like your last couple of stamps? She says, I only have 100 left. Only 100. 100 fucking stamps, Franny. I said to her, Franny, that would last me the rest of my life. I don't know why you need. And then Susan yells in and she goes, yeah, Franny, what's with all the stamps? And Franny says, well, I write a lot of people. I send a lot of cards. Yeah. So it was about cards and stamps, which, some weeks with the seniors, it's about what they got at the grocery store. And it's just like a Bernie Mac bit, Big Mama, I got some potatoes and tomatoes. So if you're watching anything on the telly and you have, what is it, Apple TV, see, these are now I've gone over to friends' houses a couple nights this week and spent the night and been able to watch shows that are streaming on streamers that I don't have. And also, can I just tell you how fucking glorious it is to be at a friend's house and have them get up and make coffee for us and have the coffee? Like living alone, been living single in the 90s and a 2000 and 2020 kind of world. I'm glad I've got my girls. And honestly, having a cup of coffee be made. It's just divine. It's one of those things that I know we all take for granted of just like, we all make ourselves coffee every day. Maybe you make your bed, maybe you do your dishes, maybe you clean up the house. It's like, how many times do I have to fucking do it? Like, all right, here we are again doing the laundry, I guess. All right. But it was a glorious time, coffee for all, and television appointment television. It was like the olden days. It was great. I had the best time. So I hope you had a good time today. This was really fun for me, as it usually always fun. And I'll see you next Saturday. And really, this is my message to you this week, most of all, is to really take it easy. I know this couple of weeks, month around, from the Thanksgiving idea day, whatever that means, to the New Year's, which isn't really the New Year's for us. Like, if you're a witch like myself, it's the spring equinox. But all this hoopla and all this craziness and all this insanity and all this pressure, and pressure for consuming, and pressure for seeing people, and pressure for being a happy, joyful, fa la 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 la. Fuck it. So just take care of yourselves and do what you need to do to stay sane. And if that means not seeing family, if that means not seeing friends, if that means just tucking yourself in with a good book and a nice hot cocoa or something that you love, a hot cup of tea, perhaps, do it. Watch Rob Reiner movies all day. Just do your thing and don't worry. All of this will blow over very soon. And then we'll be back to just the normal wild and craziness that we have in our lives. So remember, if you're not hurting yourself and you're not hurting anyone else, you're really doing a great job. And keep focusing on yourself. Even if you have loved ones, you have to put your oxygen mask on first before you help the others. So remember to just be kind to yourself, prioritize love, kindness, and doing the right thing. Okay. Be compassionate. People are having a hard time out here. And take your time. If you're going places, try not to rush. Just keep yourself breathing. Remember to breathe. And I love you so much. And I can't wait to see you next time. And au revoir, bonheurs. And I hope you are bien. Love you. Yes. I hope you are bien.